Hey, Nick.
Hey.
Another episode.
Another
late night.
I know. I'm cool with the late night.
But you're not cool for me.
No, I feel guilty.
Yeah. When we start there, why do you feel guilty?
I feel bad that it's like a burden or impacting you that like with a full-time job. And it's like interesting because like I also have a full-time job, except my full-time job,
which we talked about.
We did. It's just my full-time job involves me being at the house. But I probably get like less quote unquote breaks. I had 1 hour today to myself. But I can like kind of, I don't know, I'm not like presenting things, I'm not doing like work. So it feels different. Work. Yes, I know. But I just feel like I know how important your bedtime is to you, getting in bed by like 9 p.m. and like sleep. And I feel like I just feel bad.
Yeah. But I enjoy this a lot. And I'm enjoying it. And if I'm learning to say no. If I wanted to say no, I know I can. The door is open. You've left it open for me to say no.
I know. I just feel like you don't want to let me down.
I don't want to let myself down. I like this. Okay. And I think
I think it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like I'm realizing like we used to have like nights kind of just free.
Yeah.
And it's like every night there's something going on.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing.
No, I think it's actually cool that we have things to do together every night.
Yeah.
And we're doing it together. It's not like, hey, Nikki, you go do your thing in your room and I'll go do my thing over here. It's like we're doing it together.
It definitely feels like work. Except my favorite part is this part, right?
Yeah.
But the rest of it, this is what I hated when I had my own podcast.
But now you got an editor.
Yeah.
Full-time editor.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, well, we have no idea if this video is working.
We're trying new things. We're trying new things again.
Yeah.
But I think it's a strong one. We have to keep, it's a consistency. Yeah. And learning and evolving and getting better.
Yeah.
I got some mentorship from someone. They said, hey, a year from now, you should look back and man, damn, that was crappy and we were not good at this.
I hope in a year from now, we don't have 4 lights hanging from windows and have a pillowcase.
And we did put a pillowcase because we saw people having like shades over their lamps. So we decided, you know what? We can do that. We can put a pillowcase over it and it will create the same effect.
You know what? Cool. I was actually thinking about something you just said about it's something we can do together, and that's really awesome, right? It's an activity. And then I was thinking about an activity that we do not do together. Well, we have different viewpoints on the activity.
Which is?
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I could go a lot of ways with this.
Budgeting.
Oh, cool.
And financials.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I was thinking about it because we were talking about it over dinner. We have different values in regards to...
Yeah. But I think it comes back to what we talked about previously, is my mental load as a father, as financial security, those kind of go together, right? So making sure we're always in a good position. And it's hard for me because I live in both worlds. So I'm a very present person. So I'm like, I'm not here to save all the time, but I don't want to put us in a challenging position because we also have a lot of things that we align to on future goals. So the hard thing is goals alignment and sometimes value alignment. And let me continue my life. Back to your mother mental is a lot around the kids. Right. So most of your financial spending is just like, I got the kids this, we're at the store, they want a toy, I'm going to get them a freaking toy. Yeah, they think they need new clothes, let's get new clothes, right?
Well, sometimes they outgrow them.
No, I know, but I'm saying like a lot of it, it's not like you're spending aimlessly on random things.
I did see that a Chanel bag is $10,000. Yeah. That it used to be $2,000.
But it also comes back to the way... Not at all. That's a long ways away. But I also think back to how your brain operates. ADHD. It's like, I think of an idea, I think something, I go buy it. And it's so easy now to do that. Amazon, one click. Right? And I think what I've tried to explain to you is even the $25, those little things,
they add up.
to a lot over time. And you don't think in the day you spend that much money.
I'm curious if I was working a full-time job, what my viewpoint on money would be. Because I was like actively making it. I was seeing it. And so I think I have a different viewpoint on it because one of the reasons why, maybe.
And I think I always ask you to have more visibility so you can see it. Yeah. Which you haven't done yet.
Well, have you gone back to the spreadsheet that you said is the most amazing thing ever?
But when I did it, did you ever look at it once? I shared it with you. How many times did you look at it?
0.
Okay.
Here's Jarrod's thing. He's like, he keeps trying to start these budgeting things, and then like.
I know. I need to go. It was working really well. We were doing really well with it.
And then look what happened.
And then we did.
So let's talk about. I think this is a big topic because
big one.
I see a gajillion Instagram reels of like. It's so funny because it's very stereotypical where it's like there's one person in the family who's a spender and there's one person in the family who's not. And it's typically like women and men. Yeah. And I just see these videos of these like men like just sitting at a desk or like sitting at the kitchen counter and they're like looking at the computer and like the little caption says something about budgeting and like the wife sneaks behind with like nine shopping bags. Amazon boxes, right? And I like so many of my friends and I, we just send these back and forth to each other because it's so real. It's like so realistic. So, we can't be letting people talking about money.
No, for sure.
But I think like understanding where our ideals about money come from. I think money's kind of a taboo topic. A lot of people don't like to talk about money. I'm curious breaking it down in terms of like the financial breadwinner and the all the other things breadwinner. Trying to be kind to myself. So I was thinking we could open the conversation.
Yeah, I think it's been opened. Yeah. So we want to go to next.
You start.
Well, I think it's
Jarrod, tell me about your history with money.
Well, I think my history with money is, I wish I got more education early on. Like, I don't know if you're born a certain way, but like, I was never taught how to save, the importance of saving, right? I was given, it was like our thing in our family, like grandparents always gave you the money and then your parents go find a thing to spend it on, not go save it for something bigger you want to spend. So when I got money, I went and figured out how to spend it. And I think that's carried over into how I've been. Obviously, when you make more money, you spend more money, right? And you're not thinking, I never had a long-term view, right? Until the first time I was like, all right, we're going to get a house. That was like the first time I was like, oh, because.
What a ring.
Yeah. I guess a little bit with the ring back then when I was thinking getting a ring, because we didn't have all this other responsibility. And I was in sales, I was making a lot of money. Yeah. It wasn't actually like.
That's stressful.
It wasn't that stressful, like to get to the point where I could buy a ring and I wasn't like stressed about it. Yeah. Right. At that point. Now it's different. Like kids, house, mortgage, cars.
All the things that come with a house.
All the things that come with a house. Kids with special needs. You don't understand the extra money that comes with that. Right. And then you still operate and haven't changed your mindset around it. And we've always said like, we both trust that we're never going to go down in income. We're only going to increase. But if you can't learn, what I'm trying to do is learn based off what we make, how to live comfortably, right? Versus, we'll just make more money, then we're going to spend more money. So I think knowing when you're at a certain point, how to spend and live comfortably there, and know how to like know how much money you make, know what's going out, know what's coming in, and as money comes and you get more money, you'll have the skill set. Like we haven't learned the skill set of, we think we make more money so we can spend more money, and we're not like tracking it. And I'm trying to get better at changing my mindset on that for not necessarily longer term thinking, but like, hey, can we live within what we make and not put ourselves go into debt? And how do I learn that skill? So that's a skill that I can continue to carry on as we continue, because we want a lot of things. We have a lot of goals and views. I think our misalignment at times is we have these goals for a long-term thinking, but then our current, how do we spend now, not are always aligned to getting to those goals.
I'm taking notes.
Take notes.
Everything he's saying.
Man,
So if you can hear a marker, could not find a pen.
She's writing emotional spending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's that. I mean, we started to do a good job of like the document definitely helps, but then like we haven't done this as well as we were doing for a little bit. Is on like Sundays, like what's going out this week that we know for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we tried to have more conversations like, hey, what are we spending? Like my value's a lot, and now which is cool. You're getting aligned to it. Is like I spend a lot on supplements and health stuff,
right?
And you're like, well, that's what you value. I value this stuff over here. So what's the difference, right? What's the difference in me spending for that if you want to spend for this, right?
Right. So
I can't say it. I used to have the thinking of, well, I'm trying to take care of my house so I can be here long term.
Yeah.
Isn't that better than what you value? And I think that's not a good way to look at it.
Well, I can't remember what it was about, but it was something that I wanted to buy. This was a long time ago. Do you remember this? Like I wanted to buy something and it was not supported in terms of buying it. And I brought up like where you're spending money, whether it's fantasy football drafts, golfing, supplements, like different books, like how many fucking books? Oh my God.
I mean, this is just nothing.
This is nothing. One day there will be a whole wall.
There'll be a library.
I still like the paperbacks, but I am a Kindle person. I love the paperbacks. Moving on.
Okay.
So, a value system. And this was a conversation we had years ago about your values versus my values and like how we want to spend money. And so something that has come up just recently is about our backyard. And so we have about an acre of land, almost. 3/4 of an acre. And it was Pax's yard.
Yeah.
It was meant for Pax. Yeah. There is
we built him an $8,000 fence for him.
Yes.
So he had his own yard.
Yes, and then he left us.
It's okay.
So there's some stuff out there, but it's not been well maintained. It's not kid friendly at all. No. And so for the years that we've lived here, we've wanted to do something in the yard, but it's never really been a big priority until the kids are now at the age that they are where they're literally asking us to go outside all the time.
Yeah.
And with Jake's, like some of Jake's characteristics that come along with being autistic are elopement. And what elopement means is running, just having fun. He's like, I want to go.
Take off.
He just takes off and he doesn't always respond to his name. And so me taking both kids to the park, I feel paralyzed to go. And then I feel trapped in the house. So coming back to the values is that getting a backyard with a play set was of the utmost importance to me so that I could feel better as a mom in terms of like playing with my kids. They're not just on their screens, that I had more to give them.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, although it was important, it was something that you wanted, it wasn't like a deep.
Mine
burning.
was get rid of our debt.
Right.
First.
Right.
Before we do that.
Right. Which we did.
No.
Yes, we did. And then
some of it.
And then it came back up.
Some of it.
Listen, people, credit cards, they are fluid.
We got rid of some of it, but like again, we're going to invest in this backyard, which if we paid off debt, we could pay all of it off. Like we hit it once, we can hit it again. But I also want that backyard and I want it for you.
Right.
Right. Based off the other conversation that we had last time of that home is my sanctuary. Like this is where I am all the time with the kids, where you go to an office.
Right.
Right. So I'm here. Like this place is very important to me.
Right.
And I have the kids here. And they want to go outside and they want to play. It's getting nice out and we want to have a space for them to go. And I do too, even on like the weekends that we can just go outside.
Yeah.
We want to make it a space that we want to enjoy. Like there's so much potential in it.
Right.
So it's like.
So what finally clicked for you to be like, okay, because like I was begging and like pleading, like what? I mean, we got a great price for the first stage, right? Mm-hmm. So that was probably the first part. But like, what was the change for you to be like, okay, I can see it from somebody else's perspective. I'm willing to.
I think a lot of us growing and me not putting my values ahead of your values and putting, again, back to emotional intelligence, putting myself in your position, right? Putting myself where, all right, what would that be like if I was home all day and I had the kids and I couldn't take them to the park and feeling trapped in a home and feeling guilt and shame that I'm not getting my kids outside. I know how important it is for them to get energy out and how all this. I was like, okay, like, and again, I truly believe, and we both know this, we're going to continue to grow our income and make money, and that I'm not worried. I just don't want it to keep climbing, but I know it's not the position we're in forever. But what I said earlier was I feel like we have still not learned to manage what we make now to not put ourselves in more debt.
Do you think some people have?
What?
Like, obviously, we've known people in our past who've been like good with money.
Yeah, right? I just like the investing and all that. It's just not like a high interest of mine.
Right. So maybe that's part of it, right? It's like, how do we find something that is interesting that keeps, well, for me, it's reaching a goal.
Yeah, what? So that we can buy.
But guess what I was reading about yesterday with ADHD? This is so fascinating. So you asked me, you said, okay, we'll move forward with the backyard. Okay. But we cannot spend any other money. Like, I mean, beyond the standard stuff, right? So I said, okay, I'm in.
How's that going?
No, but this is what I want to tell you. So the thing about ADHD and my brain is that goal is too far out. So they say, think big picture. I think too much big picture, but like I need immediate gratification, right? And so that, although is like, it's too far out.
It's not even that far away.
No, but it was originally supposed to be this past month, and it ended up being another 6 to 8 weeks. And so it's not like juicy enough. It's not motivating enough. Mm-hmm. So looking at that for myself, recognizing like I wanted to change my habits too, but I did not follow through with that. And like that wasn't on you for not staying on top of my spending. It was like, how can I remind myself that this upcoming is worth me not swiping the credit card? Mm. So I'm like, okay, now that I know. And
do you see them as two completely separate things? Does that even come into mind in thought when you're purchasing something?
No.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like those are two separate things.
Well, I think I'm like, oh, the backyard's coming, but I feel like it's not. I'm not stressed about it. And like, as I'm saying this, I'm recognizing how much privilege I have by saying what I'm talking about is that I can go to Target and can go buy little shorts for Sydney because like I think they're cute, while also knowing that this project is coming.
Yeah.
So like I think being a impulsive thinker, like you said, like I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna go do something. I don't always think before I do. And then what I found a lot, which is what you've noticed, is like I'll buy and then return.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes will just like literally buy. Yeah. It gives me
like. But then it's when you do that to understand, okay, net, how much did I spend?
I know. Which is, so my mom, when I was growing up, she had envelopes of cash that were in her safe that she would put money away. Every single week, she'd put cash in these envelopes from me, like Nikki going to the movies with friends, to like vacations, like everything. My mom is so good. She done it all to herself. I really should. We should pick her brain a bit. Anyways, I lived on cash. I didn't get like a debit card or anything until I was in college.
I can do that for you.
So I was gonna say, yeah. And I've said this to you before, like having a budget and being like told, this is how much that we can spend. That's helpful because then I can be like, I spent $20 here. I got an $8 this. That's helpful. But like having it just like out there in the cloud, like I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. Okay, wait, let's talk about emotional spending since I wrote that down. So there's a couple people on Instagram that are like these financial coaches that specifically talk about emotional spending. Like, some people like emotionally eat. Some people like emotionally like drink, like they do habits that are not necessarily the best, but it's a way that gives them a dopamine hit, right? So I've been really thinking about that emotional spending, but like emotional spending doesn't have to just be like when I'm feeling down, I want to go pamper myself. It's also like when I'm feeling really good,
sure,
I'm going to go spend money and not necessarily think about my spending habits. What are your thoughts on emotional spending?
No, I totally get it. Yeah. I don't have that, but I totally understand it. Right? I know, like when I feel good, there's certain things I want to go do. Right? When I feel good,
but I feel like you have like very seldom That's seldom. That's like not the word I'm looking for. I feel like you have very specific interests. At least the ones that I know of. Like you haven't shared with me if there's like
secret ones.
No, like there's ones that like you'd be really interested in going to do, but like you haven't shared that with me.
The biggest thing is experiences.
Right.
Favorite thing.
So can we go on vacation?
Not because of the backyard, no. And that's what you've been bringing up like tonight. I really want to go on a vacation, Jarrod. Like, do you want a backyard or do you want to go on vacation? And the answer is yes, Jarrod. Yes. And then I do feel that guilt because I also know this is the hard part for me is that you're at home all the time, you're doing this, and that would be nice. And I know you want to get out and like be away from this place for a little bit. So that's what I have a hard time with is that I want to give to you. Yeah, of course I want to go on vacation too, but then I don't want to be there on vacation, not enjoying it because I'm worried about money.
But do you think like about that when you're actually there, or do you kind of like, okay, we're already doing this?
No, you know me. Like if I'm in a,
what is that? I don't know if I can see.
Like so I would say my spending, like when I feel really good, I want to go out to dinner to like a good dinner, right? And that costs a couple $100 when we're going to dinner, and that's like, and you're like, Jarrod, didn't we talk about this? And I'm like, it's that's so my emotional spending.
It's a value.
Yeah, my emotional spending is like usually when I'm not when I'm feeling bad, I don't emotionally spend. It's only when I'm feeling good I want to go do like keep the high up of feeling really good.
Okay, so that actually reminds me of what you said earlier about like when grandparents give you money and like what that feeling is
excitement.
Like. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it's carried over to that, right? Yeah. And it was too like when if I get a bonus and everything, I'm like, woo, we're rich again.
No, you've been better with that.
No, because it's going with lots of debt. But I'm trying to like keep a little over here so we can go have a nice night or a dinner or do something, go to a concert, or it is experiences for me. And then it's like, and then most of it is like I spend most of my money on books, health, like I spend most of my money on supplements. And then like we want quality food in our house. Like I love cooking. So, we spend a lot of money on groceries and getting the right food and healthy food for us. And I enjoy that. Like,
well, that's changing now too.
Yeah. And so for me, it's those things really and experiences. So it's not like I would love to get an ice bath, but I'm like, I don't have to go get,
Listen, I bought you a blow up ice bath.
It's hard when it's this hot. It's impossible to get it cold.
But like you've literally used it
probably 10 times.
It's Jake's pool.
Yeah, which is great too, which we can use it. It's getting hot out.
What Sydney's gonna lose? Okay. Anyways, so that's really interesting. Okay, I want to come back to a couple of things that you brought up. So life changes. I wrote down and staying on the routine. So we've brought up a couple of times that you have tried budgeting in the past or tried to create systems that would work for our family, and they don't work.
This last one works.
So what I was thinking about was the fact that what was the big change that happened in between you starting that and where we are now?
I think I forgot. I was like,
I know what the answer is. So it was a rhetorical question.
Oh. Trick question.
What were you going to say?
I was just saying, I feel like we went away or something. I don't remember.
We've not left this place. So no, we haven't
remember. I feel like it was like a lot of
You've gone away.
I felt like it was
you want to go through that?
I did. Okay. I felt like there was a lot of weeks where it was on the weekend. I think maybe this
yes.
happened. The podcast happened.
So the podcast happened.
Got the answer right.
So over the weekends in the past,
that's what
we had a lot more. Like I don't know if you've noticed. I've noticed the house is even in more disarray than normal. Like throughout the week, it becomes very tornado-like, right? And there's stuff. There's kind of like stuff everywhere. But over the last few weeks, it's become even more because the small time that I have available to myself, I'm working on my own things. And so like those sheets that were washed 2 weekends ago that are still sitting there, or the clothes in the hamper, or like there's boxes, there's things, there's just a lot of stuff. So to that point, our weekends, they used to be where that like Sydney's nap, you'd be doing the budget.
I do it every weekend. On that
right.
Time.
So now that
it's either cleaning or podcast.
Right. So
great point, Nikki.
So what I was curious about, right, is like we've also talked about the very first thing that you brought up when we were beginning this conversation was about consistency and keeping on that consistent track is really the key. Okay, so
same with financials.
So, but how do we?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, when people eat. They say, like, don't throw away a bad day. Like if you've eaten, you had a big breakfast at IHOP and you had like 90 pancakes, and then you're
maybe
like,
Waffle House since we're in Georgia.
Okay, Waffle House, and you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna eat shitty the rest of the day, right? No, like you can, it's okay. So how do you rebound back from that? So I'm curious, like, what your thoughts are on, like, how do you get back on track after you, one, have had things that have gotten in the way, and two, expand even more to be able to manage not only this responsibility that you have. And when I'm saying you, I'm not like directly meaning you. I'm saying like to people. Like, how do we manage the responsibilities while also doing things we're passionate about?
Yeah.
And making sure that we can stay like on the
consistent.
Yeah, stay consistent.
I think, I love habits and routines built in. So I think continuing for us, because we do a really good job of planning, and we're still getting better at like when we're going to do this, what does each night entail? It's like on the weekends, like, is it one morning that I'm always going to do that at the same time? Because that's how it was before.
But I think you feel bad because just like I feel bad about you staying up later to do this podcast. I feel bad that I'm asking you. You feel bad because I've been watching the kids. Yeah. So it's really challenging.
But both those things could align, because it could be that way. It could be like, all right, Nick, you could sleep in, come down at 10 o'clock, but then from 10 to 11, let me go focus on budget.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Dial that all in. So I think it's back to the communication, what we need, right? Because that's a value for both of us.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it is. Like, again, back to the last episode, I value you getting that time for yourself. So we're aligned on that value, and hopefully you're aligned to us being in a financially good place. So that's not feel like Jarrod's getting free time away from the kids again. It's now he's helping our family.
Right.
So if we're aligned on that, then you wouldn't feel bad. Like, all right, Jarrod going to get the next hour to get everything input, dial in the budget, those things like that. So I think that'll help.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I think that was really helpful.
You're so welcome. Well, wonderful question, Nicole.
The question to further it was like, what advice would you give to couples to begin that process? But before, because I think we'll end with that.
Well, I think
blah, blah, blah. I was about to say, but before we get to that, I have one other question, but maybe
no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Ladies first.
You go first.
No.
Whoever speaks first, Jake.
You spoke, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, my question was back to the manifesting piece. So this made me think about a compliment that you've received just recently, that it was said that everything you've manifested has come true. And it has. And like, a lot of that in regards to your career, but I would also say in areas of your personal life as well. But let's talk about like, I'm a daydreamer. Like, I'm like already living there. That's where I'm at. Like, I'm target. I am already in that identity.
I'm killing it. We're loaded.
Yeah.
I love that.
Then I look at the like Instagram reels and I'm like, oh God. Anyways.
You're special.
So back to my question. I think like we've talked about this in another episode, but I really would like to just break it down again. Like, you said you've in full control of your future and of the money that you'll be making, and we also do know that whenever we'll be okay one day, right?
Yeah.
So
we're okay right now.
I know, but talk to us about manifesting dreams, money.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm still working on coming from a place of lack versus abundance. And that's where I'm like, sometimes I focus my meditation that if I'm focused on what I don't have, then that's what will be in front of me and what I see. If I'm worried that we don't have enough money or all those things, then that's the situation we'll be in. So I think...
I'm sorry, I have to just ask a question.
Okay.
My ADHD just popped in for me. Her name is Scribble. Scribble's here. So I was just thinking that I find it really fascinating that... Sorry, I'm so bad for interrupting you. I think it's really fascinating that your whole idea, your like esoteric viewpoint on life in regards to like the soul's purpose and like that we're really just not even in these bodies. We're just like floating around in little clouds.
I don't think that's how I would describe it, but yes.
And you have a tie to capitalism and to a financial
that's what's really hard for me, because I clearly understand that we created this construct and thought of money, the human beings. Like we made it. Like it's a freaking piece of paper. It's a number on a screen.
Yeah.
And we contribute value to that, which is just, if you really think about that, like it's a freaking piece of paper that has a president on it. But that's valuable.
People feel that way about the scale.
Yeah. And so that, I know that, like, if you read the book Sapiens, that's like, it talks about how the construct of money ever came to be and how we created value around it. And like, so I know that, and I'm like, and I could live in a little motorhome and be the happiest man.
Look, you and your setup right now in this room would work perfectly in your motorhome.
But I would be fine. But I also like things.
No, let's be real, Jarrod.
Yeah, I could.
As a Libra,
yeah,
one of your values is beauty.
Yes.
And you like very nice
But
things.
I think beauty is not have to buy things for beauty.
I know, but you also like really like your clothes.
Yeah. I like them because you bought them. I would never bought them for myself.
Yes, you're like, you first thing you said was like, oh, these people have them at work. They're so cool.
Yeah, they're cool. And I look good in them. I'm not going to lie. I wear them a lot. And I'm grateful. But I would never, you know me, I would never go buy those things for myself. Unless you bought them. I would not have those shoes unless you bought them. I would have stuck with my Aldos, who had 6 different colors. They're like $35 a piece. And I was wearing those every single day. No diss to Aldo. Aldo. I love you. You've been great to me. I've stepped up my game.
See? You like that.
I do like that, but it's this idea of money. I hate that I'm wrapped around it, and it has some control over me. And that's what I'm fighting on a day-to-day basis, where I'm like, well, fine. Like, I'm never worried. Like, deep down, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
At all. I think it's more that I'm upset with myself that I haven't been able to master this thing. Yeah. That I like back to control. Like, I feel I'm not in control of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that feeling of not being in control of it. That goes to a lot of childhood things, and it plays out in money, that I can't get a grasp of it. Mm. And because I'm not interested in it, because I think back to my esoterics piece, I'm like, it's just freaking money. Where a lot of people are like, no, I need to make as much and have as much in the bank account as possible. And that makes me...
That's my identity.
That makes me special and all those things. Like, I don't even care about that. I really don't care about that at all. But it's hard not to be, when you're surrounded by it a lot, it pulls you in, right? So that makes it really, really challenging. So I'm on this line of...
The human experience.
Yeah, the human experience, which we want to talk about. So, like, to me, it's like, if I didn't have to think about it, like, I would love that. Like, I'm not trying to build the biggest bank account. I just want us to be able to live a comfortable life.
And have experiences.
And what I've always said to you is, like, I want us to be able to, like, not aimlessly spend, but, like, if we want to go do something, to have an experience or do it, that we can, not even have to think about it.
And, like, if we need, like, if our fridge breaks.
Yeah, that we can just do it. That we're in a great position. And it sucks that you have to have a certain level of job and make a certain amount of income to have that ability. Frustrates me. But I work really hard. But at the end of the day, like, you ask sometimes, your parents ask me, like, when you get a raise? And I'm like, I don't even think about that. I'm like, am I doing good in my job, and am I making large enough impact? And I believe.
And am I fulfilled?
Am I fulfilled? And I am right now. So, like, to me, the money comes. If I make broader impact, the byproduct of that is more money coming to me.
Can I tell you a story?
I love stories.
Okay, so my dad told me this story when I was a kid, and I've always thought about it. It has to do with money. So there was a couple, they lived in New York City, and they collected art. And they loved art so much, but they lived in this tiny little apartment. So the art, like, literally was starting to overflow the apartment. They had art in the ovens and the microwaves, like, hidden all over the place. They didn't have any money. They were really just collecting things that they loved and they thought were beautiful. One day, they found out that all of their art was worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. It was all taken to a museum. And so the point of the story is like, doing something that you love will lead to money, right?
100%.
And I think about that when it comes to, like, consistency, or, like, even as we were just sitting here talking right now, I was like, we just have to, even with all the chaos of getting this started, even before, it's like, you just have to keep going.
And because, and to that point, money is not a passion of mine. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather spend that time doing something that fulfills me.
Right.
But our world and the construct we built is I have to think about that, and that frustrates me.
Yeah.
That I have to think about that. And I have to think about education for our kids, and I have to think.
Well, and even like there's more pressure, even more. Like, I was thinking as I took sitting to the dentist today, like, because you are in a corporate role and I'm not, I'm an entrepreneur. I do not have health benefits. I do not have any of that. Like, if anything was to ever happen, like, we don't have that support for Jake. Mm-hmm. So like, it is a very frustrating. I think there's even a stronger word, probably, of just like how inaccessible.
It's effed up, bro.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, you said
this is explicit podcast. Like,
yeah, we clicked the explicit button.
Sydney literally said "fuck" to our hairdresser guy.
Yeah. So I don't think she knew what she was saying.
She was like,
but she probably just heard mom saying a lot.
Fuck it. Anyways, what was I saying?
You're a potty mouth. You're saying how this is all.
I mean, I just feel I do just want to like say it. Like, I feel so grateful.
Yeah.
I do.
We're in a great position.
But thank you very much for being as consistent as you have been, to have risen from a place that you didn't always love the job, but you put your head down, you worked hard, and then you found a way to enjoy it even more, make more impact. Yeah. And then now you're in the place that you're in. You worked really hard to get there. Yeah. And just to finish, like, I'm really grateful for the off things that we need, like the potty consultant call that we have on Thursday. Like, we can
do those things.
We can do those things because of the effort that you put in. And that's also very hard for me because I feel like I'm in this weird thing where I like I don't want to ask. Like, that just makes me feel like it's a parent. So like, and then it's a reminder that I'm not being a financial contributor. But then also it's like this like loop of just, I lost my train of thought again.
It's okay. Scribble.
Lost. What were we talking about? Was thanking you.
Thanking me.
So like being frustrated, like when you go and travel or for work, right? Like, it's like, so like you feel like you have those two worlds where you're like, I don't really care about money, but I know I have to make it. For me, it's where like I wish that he could be more here and dealing with this shit stuff that I'm dealing with, but I also know he has to be going to do that stuff because I wouldn't have any of this shit stuff over here without that. Yeah. So it can get really complicated for me,
Makes complete sense. Yeah. So where do you want to bring this home with?
I think ultimately, like, what I got from this is that, like, this is a daily, not a daily, but like, I mean, yeah, it probably should be like a weekly conversation of like us continuing to check in with each other and recognizing not only your lack of interest, but your interest in managing it better is important to you, where it's not important to me, but me thinking about that. And then you have already compromised in the sense of like, I want to give those things because of my needs. But what I want to wrap this whole thing up in is like, what is our takeaways today? Like, what do we want to tell people about understanding their personal values around money and like their values within life and how they want to spend money, and how to have that conversation with their partner, having more empathy, and like really how to build
I think it's how you started the conversation is like, you first need to understand what's your belief around money as individuals. Like, what do you think about money? Do you think how are you raised with it? Are you coming from a place of lack, coming from a place of abundance, coming from a place of save everything because you never know what's going to happen? Like, you need to know each person's where they stand currently against money, because those are going to conflict unless you're completely aligned. But if you hadn't had that conversation, because you said it's taboo, it should not be. Mm-hmm. And every relationship's different. Some people have separate accounts, especially if there's two people that are making money, that their stuff's separate and they all the bills, they both contribute to it. Like, some couples still do that stuff. So it's really, where are you at? But I think if you're thinking about it's our money, because that's how I look at it. It's not my money. This is our money that I bring into our family, and we need to make decisions around it.
Can I just add one thing?
Yes.
I read about this exact thing. I read a post. There's a account I told you about her today, Mother Untitled on Instagram, and her last quote literally said, "God, I wish I could have my phone for a second."
You can't because it's partly recording.
But it said that in essence is that even though my role is unpaid, I am still contributing to the household, which means that it is a shared income.
Yes.
And so even though I may not, like, you would not be able to go travel for 4 days for work if I wasn't here to be with the kids.
True.
So there are things that it just, our role in society about mothers who are at-home parent, who are not bringing in money, is that it's not a job where it is. So I've become more comfortable with the idea of it being a shared income based off the things that I am doing, knowing though that you are the one who is driving it in. I just wanted to add that caveat.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I think first, back to what I was saying, understanding where each of you are coming from around money, aligning to what does money mean to us? What do we want to do with it? What do we value? Right? What are our goals? Because your values and goals might misalign, which ours have at moments. Like, because values are how we're making decisions now most of the time, or goals are what we're striving for, and those can compete against each other at times. So understanding what you value, because and this might be something we create as well as like a values exercise, but how the way to assess if you have alignment with your partner in values, the easiest way to know how aligned are we to our values is time and money. Where are we spending our time, and what are we spending our money on, and are we off? Like, that's the easiest way to know and make adjustments in the way you're operating with. How do we spend our time? How do we spend our money? Easy way to look at that. Look at your calendars. I have people look at their calendars and then go open your bank account or your Amazons and go, I value this, 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 and this, but I'm not spending any money on those things. I'm spending money on other things. So that actually helps you realign and go, all right, well, these things are the things we value. What should we be spending on? And then what money do we not need to spend on these things? Like, that's how I we can look at things as go, okay, well, we can take 200 out of that from our month and put it here because this is something we actually value more. Like, we want to go out to dinner and have date night more often because we probably value that more than, I don't know, something else. Like a freaking new kitchen equipment. I don't know. But like, we're fine. We have enough kitchen equipment. I can make food, right? Like, that's not both of us. That would be more me, right? That would be more me thinking about that, right? So, but if we want to have more, yeah, it'd be great. But what do we take away from to put towards something we value more and align to that? So I think those things are really important. And then you need to have a habit of a conversation. Like,
I mean, that's something we do every week. We do, even though the money is not as much, we do have a meeting every week. What do we have
to spend this week? Yeah. What's crucial, right? What's important? Do we need to buy that now? We've had that kind of discussion, like, that can wait, right? We don't need that now. It's not a must have right now.
Maybe that's something I can do. Is when I want to have like an impulsive buy.
Yeah. I think you started, like you said, you told me the other day, like I
write it down.
A bunch of things that you probably just went and bought them.
No, I wanted that coffee thing that goes underneath the coffee maker.
And it's like, all right, when can we? If we're thinking about that, then this month let's take away from here, and then maybe that goes to that. Yeah. Right. So I think it's back to communication. We always talk about it. It's like, you got to be honest and transparent and put it all on the table.
And the partners, though, have to be receptive to hear the other party's perspective.
Yeah, and not think their perspective's the right way.
So, like, imagine if it was somebody who did not, like, I said, like, oh, I want to buy this thing, and the other partner's like, that's fucking stupid. Like, why would you?
And I used to think about that.
Right.
So, you used to buy purses. I was like, dude, why do you want to buy a purse? Right.
Well, it wasn't a Chanel.
No, but like, you had, like, that was something you wanted to, like, you wanted to buy, right? And you were thinking, I'm like,
oh, I think that's what it was. Yeah. It was a designer bag.
Yeah. And I was like, what are we talking about? But I that's not fair for me to judge that. If that's something you value, you're my partner and I love you. So I might not agree with it, but I can't say that you're wrong and I'm right. Yeah. That doesn't make sense. Unless it's impacting us in a great financial way. Right? That would be
the bad way too.
No, but if we're like, all right, then if that's something you value, like I value things that I want to buy, right? And it's like, all right, then we each want to save and think about how each of us can buy that purchase that means something to us. If we carry by each other, we want us to get things that are important to us. Yeah. So I think it's important.
Well, I think this was enlightening. And I will think about what I go buy tomorrow.
Cool. I hope you think about that every day.
Oh, I will.
Text me.
No, because, well, what's your response going to be?
Why do we need
it? Why is a closed question? What about this is interesting for you?
Yeah, remember to ask. Be curious.
Well, I think this. And you're like, oh, okay. What about if we did this?
Yeah.
So,
and then I'll just send a picture of the backyard that we're living in. Like, remember what we talked about?
All right, you guys. Thanks for listening.
She wants to cut it off there.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.